Good morning from London. This week we've seen signs and more evidence that the market is slowing down. This is the property market in the UK is slowing down following the end and the tapering off of the stamp duty holiday. The stamp duty is a tax that is levied on people who buy property in the UK, and it can go to ridiculous kind of levels. If you're an investor, you could easily pay, say, 5 or 6% on a property and end up maybe with a £30,000 tax bill just to buy the property in order to provide somewhere for somebody to live. Similarly, if you're a first-time buyer, many people have been paying tens of thousands of pounds in stamp duty. So what the government did last year was have a stamp duty holiday in order to boost the market during the pandemic. And that holiday was supposed to end in March, and then they extended it to the end of June. And now in England, it's been tapered off, it's been drastically reduced. And in other parts of the UK, it's been stopped altogether, like Wales and Northern Ireland. And what this has done is fueled a kind of a property boom during the pandemic, partly because of the stamp duty, and also partly because people wanted to get out of the cities and get that big 3 or 4 bedroom house, maybe way out in the countryside or just out in the suburbs. So agents have reported a big demand for properties, 4 bedroom properties with gardens and that sort of thing, because now people don't perhaps need to be in the city so much because they can work from home either full-time or part-time. Maybe they only have to go into the office in town once a week. So the equation has changed. In the past, it made sense to be nearer to your work in town, to save time on commuting and to save money on commuting. I mean, you can find a nice cheap property out, say in Peterborough. You can find a nice big 4 bedroom house. Yeah, you've got an hour to get into London, and then you've still got to get to your place of work once you hit King's Cross. But that could cost you, I don't know the fares at the moment, but it could easily cost you £10,000 a year just travelling into work. So now, if people don't need to travel into work every day and they don't need that season ticket, then it might make sense for them to move out a bit, have a better lifestyle in the countryside, bringing up their children with good schools in nice towns and villages. I don't blame people. So that's what's been happening. And the Nationwide has brought out their own report. Now, I reported the Halifax lender report a few weeks ago, but the Nationwide have brought out a report saying that house prices dropped slightly in July. These are only by minute amounts, but it is slowing down, whereas it's still 10% higher, 10.5% higher than a year ago. And this mirrors the earlier survey by the Halifax. But in the rush for people to buy properties, sometimes the amount of money they've saved on stamp duty has been far outstripped by the excess amount they're paying for the property because prices were pushed up by excess demand. And there's still a demand, despite the fact the market's slowed down, there's still a demand for I've got agents saying that they've got people queuing up to buy, they're looking for 4 bedroom houses further out a bit, not right in town. So there's still a demand, but this tax break definitely created a big boom, a housing boom. Now, when you get a stock market boom, a housing boom, what normally follows? Answers, please, in the comments. What normally follows boom? You say boom and bust. Right, boom and bust. So will we have a bust? I don't know. The experts, these are people usually involved in the market. So they're lenders, they're surveyors, they're estate agents. They say, oh, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Everything will tick over. Yes, we expect a slowdown, of course, because where there's been a massive demand, agents have told me, they've done a year's business in 6 months, basically. So they expect a bit of a slowdown. But, it doesn't look like there's going to be a massive drop, but who knows? We don't know. Typical home in the UK costs $244,000 now. It's nearly $250,000. In the London area, you're not going to get much, even in the greater London, outer ring of London, you're not going to get much change out of $500,000 for a house. You can still pick up flats, ex-council flats for even in closer to town for $400,000, maybe a bit out, $250,000, $300,000 in some areas. So you can still get into the market. We also know that foreign buyers, Chinese, Hong Kong buyers have been buying heavily in the UK. There's still confidence in the UK property market. So I don't know. Let's see what happens. Certainly, according to the Nationwide's evidence, and they are one of the biggest lenders, these are their own figures, not the official government land registry figures, but according to them, market for large properties surged in the last 6 months, but the market for flats has fallen. And I've certainly seen, I get agents sending me stuff all the time, and I see, flat in Fulham or Hammersmith or Bayswater, price drop 50,000, or come back to the market because the people couldn't get their mortgage or whatever. So, prices have fallen back for flats, but I don't think it's the end of the world for those sort of properties. People may eventually start drifting back to work in the cities, and it may create a demand that, it's like opposites attract sometimes. People might decide, well, I can buy a cheap flat in London. I like living in London anyway, whether I'm, single people, couples, they might not want to live out in the wilds of Devon or something. So there'll still be a demand, I would guess. But the number of transactions for properties bought for £500,000 or more increased by 37% in the 12 months to last March. So that's a massive jump, compared with a rise of just 2% for all other properties. So there you go. The search for space, indoors and outdoors, has driven demand for larger homes. And the pandemic has scared people. They think, well, I want to get away from flats. I want to get away from high-rise buildings where I have to share a lift with people. Also, there's this cladding scandal. After the Grenfell fire, thousands and thousands of flats still have this fire. It's not fireproof. It's supposed to be fireproof, fire resistant, but they're non-fire resistant cladding that could set the building alight. So many people are in flats that they can't sell. And the government has yet to really do anything, pardon the pun, concrete about this, because, it's just going to cost too much money. So the freeholders of the flats are saying, well, it's not our problem, it's the leaseholders. But the leaseholders have bought these flats that are now worthless. Surely someone has to have responsibility for that. What about the surveyors that surveyed those properties and said they were fine? What about the builders who said they were fine? What about the building inspectors from the councils who said, yeah, these buildings are fine? And now they bought these new flats and they're just stuck with them. Some of them have already gone bankrupt. So there's that worry about flats as well. Not all flats are like that. But anyway, now professional investors, of course, make money from property, whether the market is going up or whether the market is going down or whether the market's just going flat like that. You can still make money from property, whatever the market is doing. The market is just something out there. You're not the market. The market can do this and that, but as a professional investor, you can still make money on property, whatever the market is doing. So if you'd like to learn how to become a professional investor, you can join an up-and-coming Property Revolution Summit. I'm putting a link there below. It will be a live event, and it will teach you everything you need to know about getting started in property. And you'll discover secrets that have made ordinary people, sometimes with no money to put down on a property, made ordinary people millionaires in the space of 5 years. So you can certainly learn some of those secrets, and it's free to go along and join that Property Revolution Summit. So do have a look at the link there if you want to get into property and learn how to make money from property, whatever the market is doing. In fact, property investors will be happy if the market falls. They will say, yes, we can buy more property. If it's going up, great, we can flip more property. If it's just flatlining, well, yeah, there's always a property rental market. There's always a demand for property in this country because there is still a shortage of property in the UK. And as the economy gets back on track, which I think it was the IMF did a report yesterday and said that they expect the UK economy to grow by 7% this year. So that's good news. And I'm sure things will eventually get back to normal. This problem we've got at the moment will pass. It will not last forever. And the world will get back to normal again. Yes, it's tough at the moment, but don't worry. Things always pass. The flu epidemic in the 1920s, the Spanish flu epidemic, killed more people than this one. And that eventually passed without any vaccines and lockdowns, frankly. So things will pass, things will get back to normal. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please click the like button, share this post so it gets out there in the community. And if you really, I'm offering free training to help people get financially free, to get out of the rat race, to get themselves in a position where they can do what they want to do when they want to do it, and live where they want anytime they want to. So I put up some free on-demand training. You can find the link there. Click on the link below and you can watch my free training on how to become financially free without working any harder. So thanks for listening, everybody, and I will speak to you again soon. Thank you.